So this is going to be well, this is a topic that I've been wanting to avoid for a long time. And there's been some recent events in my life that has kind of urged me to push this one to the front of the line. So the topic of this discussion is being scared. And there's no advice in this one, really. There's no thoughts or anything. This is, for lack of better phrasing, a kind of a coming out discussion about who I am and what I'm supposed to do on this planet. And the thing is that you can decide whatever you want about me. I don't have that choice. If anything, I can try and influence you to see it my way or to fully accept who I am. But in the end, when it comes down to it, I actually do not have one say in what you want to believe. It's always up to you. And yeah, this is going to be tough for me because when it comes, again, when it comes down to it, I don't really trust anyone enough to tell this to. I have one person who is helping me to learn about emotions and how to feel happy because, to be honest, I understand the concept of happiness and I have some fleeting moments of it, but for the most part, I don't know if I was truly programmed to feel happiness or not. And although a lot of people look at that as a negative thing, I don't really see it that way. I understand that negative stuff is not that great for us, but it's also helped me out. I told my mom today, because we were having a discussion about this and about me being afraid of telling the world who I am and what I think I can offer and all that. And kind of jokingly said to her that I have a PhD in negativity. And we laughed and whatnot because it's kind of a funny subject to have a PhD in. And, a lot of, I can't say a lot of people, but some people might scream out saying, oh, that's, depression. But, to be honest with you, no offense, but that's kind of bullshit. Depression, and this is going to sound very arrogant for me to say, but depression has a lot to do with on the planet stuff, but it has to do with off-planet stuff too. And just because you don't believe that anything happens off this planet with who you are, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. You can keep your head in the sand all you want about that, but you can go to psychiatrist after psychiatrist, you can do pill after pill and whatnot, and go talk to your doctor, and they can recommend you all the stuff in the world. But it won't, over time, make a lick of difference because your quote-unquote depression exists in two places. And if you don't acknowledge that second place, you're always going to be depressed. And there's also, a difference of depression and negativity and just living in the negative. I wouldn't consider myself down. Like, I don't have any urges to kill myself. I mean, I've said in the past that if I had my choice, I wouldn't have come here. But or if I had the choice again, I wouldn't come back to this planet. But that doesn't mean that in this existence right now that I technically want to off myself. I just know and have, you know, dealt in the negative side of this planet for a very, very long time. You know, it's been let's say, a fun little research project. It's not, yeah, it to me, it's nothing really to do with depression. It has more to do with trauma of why I don't necessarily feel happiness on this planet. But it's not depression. You know, and so when people say that, it's kind of frustrating. Because it feels like instead of dealing with our shit, we force a label to it, and, you know, instead of dealing with it as shit, we deal with it as, oh, it's depression, and then you need outside help to deal with something that really, when it comes down to it, is an internal problem. Only you know how to fix your issues. I can't do it for you. And only I can fix my issues. You can't do it for me. You can give me hints, but it's up to me to really figure it out. And it's up to you to really figure it out too. And we can figure it out together, and we can be there for one another, but, you know, until we get over ourselves as individuals, we're always going to have this fight. You know, so, and by fight I mean this separateness, where we feel completely isolated from everybody, when we're not supposed to. This isn't normal. You know, we've just made it normal. We settled. It doesn't have to be this way. And the thing is that I've been doing no service to this planet just by being scared of being my true self, which truly has only come to fruition these last 2 years. But the thing is, too, is that now I've been kind of, in a sense, lying to a lot of the people that I care about, because I'm, you know, one person to them, and I'm a completely different person to me. And I don't want to be two people anymore. I want to be one. You know, and I want to be comfortable, just as comfortable when I'm alone as when I'm with people. And it would be different if I was discussing just earthly things. Nothing about the cosmos, nothing about anything up there. If I was just talking about sports, or what the latest celebrity has done. You know, I'd be allowed to be comfortable because I'm not challenging anybody's belief systems then. Because deep down, nobody really cares about the score of the hockey game, or football game, or what Kim Kardashian is doing, or anything like that. That's just surface level shit. What they're really, really just terrified about is that they'd have to change if they knew that something else was right. And that's why we talk about all of this other bullshit and never really get to the heart of it. And so we hide. And that's what I've been doing. God, my roommate doesn't even know this part of me. And only one other, one other person outside of my mom and sister. Actually, two people outside, but yeah, two friends, I guess. Um, and besides my mom and sister, out of everybody else that I know in this world, I'm a certain way. And because I don't really know enough people too, I actually don't know if that's normal, that we hide ourselves. That, in a way, that we're shapeshifters that way. And if that's what we do, that sucks. That really sucks. If if that's normal, to not be yourself, to think that you should never be you, the spirit, not the ego, but you. God, I hope it's not that way. But on the other end, you kind of hope that it is that way. Because having a PhD in negativity also means that you suck in other people's negativity to know what it feels like to understand that. And there's a lot of negativity on this planet. I can feel it. It's like a dirty mist at your feet. It's a fog that we walk through. And it's thick. And it's terrible. And because you can't see it, you don't think it exists. But it is there. It's all around us. The pollution is our negativity. And I'm not talking about carbon and all of that, but it is. It's a result of our negativity too. Like the amount of the the amount of CO2 or whatever that cows produce because we desire to eat meat. It's just retarded and astronomical, and it stems to our negative thoughts. So yeah, the pollution too, all of it. All of it's just, for the most part what we see is negativity, is pessimism. And I had to understand that in order to understand you guys. There's a lot of people on this planet that firmly believe that all we have to do is love each other and everything changes. But I am absolutely certain that those people too are so afraid to love themselves for who they are. For the fact that you don't just exist on this planet as who you are, that throughout the span of the 4.5 million years that the Earth has been around, that you too have been helping this planet evolve. And that maybe at some point we were aliens to this planet, and the immigration process is so slow, and that's why it's showing on this planet of how slow it's taking us all to sort of come back into one nation. And I'm not talking about a world government under dictatorship. I'm talking about civil union and harmony with one another. Without fighting, without money, without worrying about it, by trusting and having compassion for one another. It's simple, guys. It really is. But it comes at the cost of feeling secure. And that's freedom is the opposite of that. And freedom comes at a huge price. And that price is that in order to be free, you have to be completely vulnerable. Which means you have to be reliant on yourself, but also allow yourself to be dependent on others. That everyone gives. And in giving, everyone also receives. But we're never going to do that if we hate who we are. And that's, what a lot of trauma is. It's almost what all trauma is. It's our internal struggle, our internal story. Saying, I want to come out. And you keep punching it in the face and sending it back down saying, no, you stay here. Because nobody wants to know you. Nobody wants to get to know the real you. Kind of like Cinderella in a sense, locked up in the tower, when she's really supposed to be something more, or like Rapunzel or any one of the princesses, right? We're supposed to be good. But we've forgotten that. And because of that, we've forgotten where we've been. That, it's possible that we could have been trees at some point, or molecules in the air, a tiny bee or wasp or an insect, a spider that got squashed, and you come back and the next time you're a hamster and maybe you get eaten by a cat and you come back again as a dog or something like that. And you just evolved that way. And we evolved this planet to what it is. And it's time for the next evolution of us. But it's never going to happen if we hate ourselves. Because no matter what, the person on the outside is also losing out. Because they agreed wholeheartedly into a relationship with you. And you're cheating him of the best part of you. Or her. And even worse, when two fake people go into it. And that's probably the majority of people. It's just shrouding us in negativity. It's kind of like in math. If you think about it. When you multiply a negative and a negative, you get a negative. Wait. I guess not. I don't know. I forgot math. But, so, see, and there's a little bit of human error in there, because for some reason I thought negative and negative still equal to negative, which, now I'm second guessing myself, so I'm going to look this up. Because actually maybe it's positive, which times a negative. Can't believe I'm looking this up. That, it does too. Huh. Well, look at me having a bad moment. Anyways, um, let me get back to my program. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, there's an example right there. Now, there's I'm certain right now that there's a pause before I started that last sentence. And I've just left a massive pause at the end of the sentence. I can cut this out. It does not need to be in the podcast. But what is that saying? Is that saying that for you to accept me, I can never be wrong? I always have to be right? I have to be perfect? Can you accept me on my flaws just as much as on my strengths? What does that say as me as a character? That I don't trust you. I mean, it kind of says that I don't trust me either. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to look perfect to everybody, but I'm not. I screw up. I mean, I neglect, like, one side of me so much. And, you make some, not necessarily poor life choices, but you make choices in life. And sometimes it's out of fear.